Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this special edition of the Lebanon Plan Commission meeting. We'll go ahead and call ourselves to order and note that we have everyone in attendance this evening. So thank you guys very much for making it out. The first item I have on the agenda here is the approval of the minutes. I believe we all had a copy of those. Any questions or comments on the minutes? So seeing none, I would entertain a motion.
I would move it.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Yes.
And a second from Heather. All those in favor, please signify with an aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. That does carry. Next up is just the approval of the 2025 calendar. So we all received a copy of that as well. And Ben, remind me if I'm remembering correctly, we still have a regular January meeting as well, correct? I believe the
correct.
21st.
Yeah, on Tuesday.
So Tuesday, the 21st, due to the Martin Luther King holiday. So if everybody's good with that, I would entertain a motion to approve that calendar. We've got a motion to approve from Kevin and a second. All those in favor, please signify with an aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving right along, we're going to make this a very easy meeting. Next up is the election of officers. So for 2025, we are looking for president and vice president. And just as a reminder, the previous president resigned. So I am sitting vice president. We haven't made any changes to that. So anyone interested in either? We've got a motion for Corey as president and a second. I see no one else jumping to the microphone.
That's why everybody showed up tonight.
So all those in favor, please signify with an aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. All right, I've been successfully nominated. Who is victim number two? Anyone interested in a vice president role? I see a lot of shaking no, but.
I would take it. Nobody else wants it.
I'll make a motion.
So we have a motion from Heather to nominate Keith as the vice president.
I'll second that.
And we have a second as well. All those in favor, please signify with an aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Perfect. Look at that. Got through the meat and potatoes already.
Successful game of not it for the night. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, good deal. Well, that takes care of all of the administrative duties that we had on the evening. I do notice no old business, so we'll move directly into our new business item, which is docket 24-53. And this is in reference to the New Cold development. So Ben, take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Coots. This is a development plan application for New Cold, who's doing a new facility at the address of 1350 Middle Jamestown Road. Plan Commission may remember this site came in for annexation about 4 or 5 months ago. And since that time, New Cold's been working on their site design plans and are ready to come in for the development plan application. So if they want to go ahead and pull my screen up, hopefully this works. I know they've been having trouble with the cable. It's going to work for me tonight. This is just as a quick reminder, the site in question, Middle Jamestown Road, kind of diagonally down through the site here. It is directly adjacent to what would be the Lebanon Business Park to the north. And actually their existing site is, I am circling it right now with the cursor, is directly north. And that's important as we get into how this site's going to work. So that is the site in question. And at the current time, they are developing the larger parcel that is the west side of Middle Jamestown Road. And they are leaving the east side of the road, this smaller parcel, unimproved for the period, for the current future. So I'll give you a quick overview of the site here. Again, this is a large site, so the details are going to be a little bit lost in this, but I can kind of give you a quick rundown. So the one important thing to note is that they intend for all truck traffic to enter their site through their existing facility in the business park. So all trucks will be directed to the business park roads go through the gate at their existing facility and then be directed down to this new facility. And what they're going to do is they're going to create an access drive with a bridge that goes over the creek out here from their existing site down to this new area. So no trucks will be using Jamestown Road. That was something that was important to us as we were looking at that, because that road would not be adequate for a lot of truck traffic. So we wanted to keep the trucks off. And as they looked at it in terms of operations between this and their existing site, it actually made more sense for the trucks to use that. So that is one important thing to note, is no trucks will use Middle Jamestown Road. Now, they do have an entrance, obviously, to this site on Middle Jamestown Road, and that is limited then to their employee and visitor traffic that would enter from Middle Jamestown Road here. They may occasionally get a small box truck or UPS-sized trucks for deliveries here, but it's primarily going to be vehicular traffic that you'll see entering from Middle Jamestown Road. So most of the traffic will be restricted to just that traffic. What you'll see here, you can kind of get an idea of the scale of this project compared to their existing facility. This is their existing facility here, phase 1 and phase 2, as you see it sit right here. This one is actually going to be a multiple phase project too as well. Let me get to the right page in my staff report. This is actually in total about 1.4, 1.6 million square feet when it would all be built out. And it is multiple phases. And phase 1, sequence 1 would be this right here in the center. You got the office portion, and then there's cold and frozen storage surrounding it. And so that is phase 1, sequence 1. And then there's a phase 1, sequence 2 that will follow right behind it here. And that what you see dashed lines on the far reaches of the L, as I would describe it, are future phases. No plans for those phases yet, but those may come in the future. So they're showing them on their plans now. So everything in terms of phase 1, sequence 1 is contained here, and then sequence 2 is contained down here. So these would be the primary construction projects you would see over the next few years. And again, that you can kind of see it's laid out with the administrative functions here in the center, and then the cold and frozen storage extending out to either side. All the truck traffic and all of the dock doors are on the back side of the building that you see here. And then all of the truck and trailer storage parking areas to the back of the facility again as well. And then all of their detention and flood storage is all at this western portion of the parcel as well. So this is an extremely large file size, so I'm not going to try to scroll through and show you all the pages because it'll end up killing my computer. It freezes up every time I try to do it. So I figured I'd stick with this page and show you the overall here. To give you an idea a little bit of the building, this is a 138-foot tall building, very similar in size to their existing facility that you see in the business park. And one thing that has changed actually in the new UDO that was adopted last year is there is an allowance for taller buildings in the industrial district, but they're required to have a larger setback from the property line as a result. So in this case, with it being a 138-foot tall building, it is permitted to be that tall, but they had to increase the setback. Again, the scale is a little bit funky, but it is significantly set back from the property line along this frontage because of the additional height. So that is one thing I did want to note. Outside of that, the architecture and design and materials is very similar to what you see in their existing facility that you see referenced in these renderings here. And this kind of gives you an idea. This is looking essentially from the northeast towards the southwest. This would be Middle Jamestown Road here. Substation that's at the corner is what you see right here. So this kind of gives you an idea of phase 1, sequence 1 and 2. Again, administrative building here, frozen storage and cold storage here with the truck and trailer parking to the rear. This is another view of that, actually from the southwest looking northeast, so kind of from the other side of the building, looking up to the northeast towards the business park. So it gives you an idea of the scale of that and how they're going to accommodate that. They are required to provide landscaping and screening along the road. Again, if I try to go to that page, it's going to freeze up my computer and I won't be here the rest of the night. But they do meet all of the buffering requirements that are applicable along Middle Jamestown Road. And again, as I mentioned, the closest residents are actually to the southeast, furthest, they're across the road. Let me go back to. You can see it here. Here's the closest residence here. This will all remain undeveloped here, and the building sits up here with buffering along Middle Jamestown Road. So they meet all of the applicable buffering requirements on this site, all the applicable landscaping associated with the parking and drive lane areas. So just to kind of walk through a couple more things laid out in the staff report. They are still working on finishing all the comments related to TAC comments, and those will all need to be done before any building permits would be issued for the site. As I mentioned, they meet all of the site setback standards. And just again to highlight on the front setback, again, as I mentioned, the setback is 50 feet, but you add 2 feet for each foot the building exceeds 50 feet. So the math problem is they're required to be 226 feet from the front setback, and they do exceed that. Same from the side setback. It's actually required to be 201 feet, and they're about 201 feet from that south. They're from the substation property. That's the closest it gets to the property line, is right by the substation. In terms of parking, again, as I remind everybody, in the new ordinance, we do have maximum parking requirements as opposed to minimums. And so the maximum spaces allowed on the site are 1,391. Again, we're talking about 1.4 million square feet. So there's a significant amount of spaces that they're allowed to have. And they have 1,259 with most of those being truck and trailer parking to the rear. They do have a small parking area in the front for employees. On the lighting plan, we did make a note that in terms of the foot candle measurements, that they do meet all of the measurements at the property line, making sure that there's no light spillage. But we weren't able to determine, based on the plans, what the pole height was going to be. And just for reference, the maximum height is 30 feet in the industrial districts. So we'll just work with them to verify that pole height before they would move forward with any of those permits. And again, as I mentioned, the landscaping, they do meet all those requirements. And on the signage, they have shown building elevations that generally depict the locations of wall signs, but we don't have a comprehensive sign package from them yet, as it's still being developed. So that is something that will want to be submitted to our office for review and approval prior to installing any of the signage, which will come much later in the construction process. So in terms of the staff recommendation on this, staff does find compliance with Unified Development Ordinance requirements and recommends approval of the subject development plan contingent on the following conditions. And that would be that the applicant adequately address any remaining TAC comments. And number 2, receive formal drainage approval from both the city and the county, as this does affect regulated drain. And the third, that on the lighting plan, that the applicant confirm the pole height. And finally, the signage plan, that they would provide that signage plan prior to installing any signage. And with that, I would be happy to answer any questions.
Perfect. Thank you, Ben. Any questions from the commission for Ben?
I do have a question. I just wondered, when it comes to the buffer, is there a height requirement based on how tall the building is for if it's shrubs versus trees or heights or anything like that?
Not necessarily height for the buffer. It's the setback increases, and that's the accommodation for the additional height, but the buffer size does not change.
So it could be like bushes versus trees or anything like that there?
Yeah, there's a combination of trees and shrubs along that frontage. Again, I'd show you the plan, but it's in the middle of a 260.
It looked like trees, so I just thought I'd ask.
Yeah, it's primarily trees along that frontage. The irony here is that because across the street in that area, in part of this area, it's zoned industrial, they're not actually required a buffer in that area, but they have provided the street buffer that's required along there.
Any additions? Awesome. Seeing none, do we have the applicant? Would you like to speak or say anything?
Take 2 minutes to, not extend things too far, but esteemed members of the commission, good evening and Happy New Year. Thanks very much for taking this special session and coming in inclement weather. I think the commitment from New Cold is to continue to be the best neighbor that we can to the city of Lebanon. We're very grateful for the partnership that the city, the citizens of the city, who are also, for a large part, our current employees, have shown to our firm. With this extension, we will employ upwards of 450 Hoosiers from the surrounding area, and we will be very close to $1 billion invested in cutting edge logistics. This will be unlike any other facility doing food temperature control logistics in the world. So it's going to draw a lot of eyes, I think, globally to how we are doing things at New Cold for our customers, which are going to be Fortune 100 food companies that are also looking to expand their operations in Indiana and the surrounding states here, employ more people, increase their factory production. So we are super excited about realizing this next phase of our project, and thanks in advance for your consideration.
Thank you very much. Oh, yeah.
My name's Nick Santoro from New Cold. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nick. Any questions from the commission for Nicole? Good deal. Seeing none, this is in fact a public hearing, so we will officially open the public hearing. If you have any comments, please feel free to step towards the microphone. Please limit those comments to 3 minutes if possible. So the public hearing is open. Absolutely no movement towards the microphone. I will go ahead and close the public hearing. So our public hearing is officially closed. And if there are no further questions from the commission, I would entertain a motion on docket 24-53.
Make a motion to approve the subject development plan contingent on addressing all the TAC comments, having stormwater approval with the city and county, setting the, I guess, height of the light poles, and a signage plan.
Perfect. So we do have that motion. Do we have a second? Kelly, you get to pick who seconded. You can just pick.
I heard Dan.
Perfect. All right. So we do have that motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify with an aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. That motion does carry. Thank you guys very much for being here this evening. I appreciate it and look forward to our continued growth and partnership. All right. What's that? We are not yet adjourned. Any other business to come before the commission? So seeing none, I would then entertain a motion to adjourn. We've got a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify with an aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. We will see you at the next regularly scheduled January meeting.